Welcome to the Gold Coast Speakers Podcast, where speakers have conversations so that you can learn more about a speaker, what they talk about, and who they are. My name's Leon Purton. I have the pleasure today of talking with Carla Berbary. Carla and I have caught up a couple of times to chat about her interesting journey, and I'm really looking forward to today's conversation. Welcome to the show, Carla.
Thank you, Leon, and thank you so much for doing this.
Of course, no worries. Let's get started. Carla, I said we've caught up a couple of times beforehand, but what has led you to the work you do? What's the meaning behind the messages you speak about?
I believe that our childhood leads us to, and where in adult life we would like to be. Sometimes it is planned, and some other times it would not be. For me, at the age of 13, I went through a phase where I felt hopeless, and I actually thought about ending my life because I was petrified of becoming the kind of adult I believe I was surrounded by. So life felt heavy. And ironically, the person who helped me change that for me was my mother. And in ways I didn't fully understand at the time, she showed me that people can grow, heal, and evolve. Basically, I became fascinated with one question. Why do some people stay stuck in pain while others find a way to heal and build a different life? And that question led me to study psychology, social work, trauma, and human behavior.
What a powerful question. Um, uh, I know that when we've spoken in the past, Carla, you've mentioned that there's a difference between thriving and surviving. Why is that a conversation that we need to be having?
I guess now, in this time and age, we are understanding the nervous system more and more. Uh, while in the past few decades, the motto has been, to push through and not to listen to our nervous system. Now we understand and we know that this is not sustainable. We can do it for a day or two. We can do it for, a month or two. But if our nervous system is not stable, is not grounded, we are not going to be able to thrive. And thriving doesn't mean we are not going to feel, the painful feelings like sad, angry, frustrated at times. But it means when we get knocked down, we are going to be able to stand back. We are going to get our life back on track, even if at times we get distracted or side tracked. Uh, yeah, so yeah, basically that's it.
What's the so a bit of a following question to that? What's the first step that you encourage people maybe to talk about in that pivot or transition, emerging from surviving and starting to take a step towards thriving?
Hmm. This is a great question, Leon. I guess we cannot change what we don't name. So it's
Right.
important that we are able to listen to our body and to its needs. And I must say, it's one sometimes of the most difficult skills that I support clients and companies with because so many people are so used to just live life, uh, not listening to what their needs are. So the basic strategy is maybe before a busy day or at the beginning of each day, don't make it like a curative strategy, but rather as a preventative one. Maybe take 5 minutes to yourself,
Okay.
as in fully to yourself without thinking about the day, without thinking about what you have to do and what you need to do. Just it could be breathing, and I know it's overly used, but I must say breathing is the quickest way for us to ground ourselves. It can be just to listen to a song for 5 minutes, just your favorite song that would get you into a good mood. So do something for a couple of minutes that distracts you in a healthy way
Mhm.
from the whole world.
Yeah. What one of the thoughts that goes through my mind, Carla, in that is that there's certainly been times in my life when that inner voice has been really, really loud. That inner voice is screaming at you not to do something, generally it's trying to, I don't know, keep you safe or protect you. All right. Why is it so
Definitely.
hard to listen to the inner voice about what you actually want, and what will make you happier, or what might move you forward rather than staying stuck?
I guess this goes back to our childhood as well. You know, I am 51, so I come from an era where we needed to finish our plate, regardless if we were full or not. We were supposed to do things in a certain way. You know, sometimes we didn't feel like hugging or saying hello to our aunties or to our uncles or to the next door neighbor. So, but we needed, to have manners and to come and say hello and sometimes to shake hands or to hug them. I guess as little kids, we were able to say no, but then through society, we got taught, oh, this is going to upset people. This is going to um, portray us as not well mannered. So then this gets into our mind that, oh, then we don't need to listen to our inner voice a lot. We need to see what is socially accepted.
Right.
And now with the social media, we compare ourselves and yeah, it's a whole new world.
Yeah. Wow. I can see that. That analogy is really helpful for understanding that conditioning element of it, isn't it? Uh,
Yeah,
Carla, you've authored 2 books now, so congratulations. I know you did one,
thank you.
joint one, which I'd love to talk to you a little bit about how that book came about, because I think there's an interesting story behind that. But you've also just released a second book. Would you like to tell me about the 2 novels that you've written?
Yes, I would love to. Thank you, Lian. The first book is called How to Survive and Thrive, which is a collaboration with the founder of Reebok, Joe Foster. I am one of the 20 co-authors.
Right.
And in January 2024, I started my podcast called Not a Life Sentence, where I wanted to convey the message for people that we are not stuck. We can thrive and not just survive despite everything, despite what a person has been through. And Joe Foster came on my podcast,
Okay.
and he was about to release the first book. I am in the second book.
Okay.
And I asked him about it. And for the irony of it, he said, like, he ended the recorded podcast with, we've all got a story, and I am sure that you do too. And then offline, we started talking more about it, and I got interested, and I just applied and got accepted. Um, it is basically 20 stories of people who have been through adversities,
Right.
and despite everything, they were able to come out of the dark tunnel standing tall.
Mm.
So it is again to tell people that it's not about not going through difficulties, but it is about finding the light with every difficulty.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
And 2 weeks ago, yes, I released my ebook. I don't have the physical one yet. This
Yeah.
is the author's copy, as you
Yeah.
may know yourself as
Yeah,
an
yeah.
author.
Got one of those around.
This
Yeah.
is the author proof. It is called Healing from Within, a self guided journey to emotional growth and inner peace. Um, in this book, I have put my 25 years of experience being a clinician and what I heard from individual couples and from organizational clients what their needs are, what they wanted to hear. It does have a lot of worksheets. I do discuss childhood. I do believe everything starts in our childhood.
Mm.
I do discuss um, of course, trauma. I know it's a word that people are scared of, but we have all been through trauma. Some of us this much, others that much. I do talk about the attachment styles. I do have a short quiz to determine what attachment style a person has. And yeah, some strategies for when people are feeling down.
Fantastic. They seem like really powerful books. I'm curious about how Joe came into your life in the first place. Did you just cold reach out to him and invite him on your podcast, or is there another story behind that?
Um, I signed up for a short course with a business coach who had connections with him,
Okay,
and that's how we met. And
fantastic.
now we are in a group on WhatsApp.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It
So
is,
cool.
isn't it?
Um, in your keynotes, Carla, you use the term life sentence. It's a really
Yes.
strong word. It's got really strong connotations. What is it about those words that stick with you and the audiences you speak to?
Yeah, my business name is not a life sentence. Um, I truly believe that, even science says to us some people are more uh, like mental health issues are more prevalent in their families, so therefore they have a higher chances of getting mental health issues. But for me, I believe despite everything, nothing is a life sentence, even if your genes dictate it, even if you were born in a household where there was no psychological safety. If you had a traumatic event like losing someone suddenly, or having been in a car accident, or having been, in something really, really hard, like living in a war zone
Yeah,
place, uh, your nervous system is going to get impacted, definitely. But when I say it's not a life sentence, I'm trying to give people hope. And it is a true hope that people can definitely have a functioning, happy, sustainable life.
yeah. Okay. Fantastic. And if I was a conference organizer, Carla, and I was reaching out to you, this is the Gold Coast Speakers podcast. If I was a conference organizer and I was reaching out to you, Carla, how would you describe
Yes.
to me how audiences might feel after your presentation?
Um, you know, my goal is not just to motivate an audience for an hour. It is to give them insights that stay with them long after the event. It is for them to live with strategies, and not for them only to be inspired, but the tools that they can immediately apply in their work, but also in their personal
Mm,
lives.
okay. And if you were chatting to the event organizers after the session's finished, what do you think they might tell you?
Um, it is a great question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I am always striving to hopefully hear that we were happy how you were able to simplify those psychological and neuroscience theories, and how we were able to understand it. I would aim to hear that uh, we were really engaged, even though the speech was for 45 minutes. We didn't feel the time. We didn't feel it was a lecture.
Mhm.
And we were able to relate all what you have said. We were able to relate to it.
Yeah, I think there's this point in a presenter's life where if an audience member can come up to you and say, "I could see myself in your stories," that's like the magic. the magic part of being on stage and being a presenter and talking about these topics, that connecting the audience to the information through those stories and information that you present back to them. It's fantastic, Carla.
Definitely. And I am thinking, you know, as speakers, this is what we really aim for,
That's the
is for
goal.
someone, at least one person to say, I hear you, or, ah, are you living with me?
Yeah, it's like you're
You
talking
know,
straight to me.
did you read my mind?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Interesting, Carla. You've seen, you're still working as a social worker. You're lecturing at universities. You've written books that have contained a lot of that theory and lived experience down into some actionable strategies for people to take away. What do you think is a practice that we've normalized that you think is doing more harm than good?
Hmm. Um, Working with professionals a lot in the past 3 years, there is this culture of people tend to normalize burnout and
Right.
people tend to normalize overworking. And here I am separating this from working hard. I'm not saying do not work hard, but what I'm trying to say, you know, I go to workplaces and they say to me, in our industry, burnout is normal. They are normalizing it.
Yeah.
Like instead of looking what to put in place to prevent it, they normalize it. And for me, this is scary. So we need to change that culture. We need to change that overworking is not a badge of honor.
Yeah. That was the
You know,
exact
I've
word
had,
that came to my mind, Carla, is this
yeah,
burning badge of honor. It is, I'm working so hard. I'm so stressed out. But I've got to keep doing it because that's what, I pride myself on my ability to get stuff done. So
yeah. I was doing a building activity for an IT workplace late in January this year, and one person said, "Well, I stay back at work until 7 or 8 p.m. some days, and that's minimum 2 or 3 days a week every week." Another person jumped up and said, "I take work home and do it over the weekend." But they said it in a way as if it was a competition,
mm, yeah, yeah.
you know, so people are proud of it. So this is, to me, this is scary. And this is what we need to push onto the culture, the workplace culture, that this is not sustainable.
So how do we balance that, Carla? How do we balance this? Like you said, not working hard, but burning out as being different. What's in your mind? What's the nuance that sits between those two words?
I think we need, I think we have started doing it with the hybrid type of work
Mm,
where the employees do have a little bit more control of their time. But I can see some places they are very rigid still about it. I think generally, instead of focusing on hours of work, let us focus on projects.
mm,
Like, I need this project done within 2 weeks. Then it's up to the staff member to do it over 2 days, to do it, you know, to start at 7 a.m. or to start at 10 a.m.
mm,
I think we need more flexibility. People need to be listening to their physical needs. You know, sometimes our productivity levels are really high in the morning, some other days they're not. So if we work according to our nervous system
mm.
levels of productivity and needs, then we are generally going to be more productive.
Yeah. Okay. And there's two words that hang out a lot together, Carl. I always see them marching along the road together, and they are burnout and resilience. Right? These two words, they like hang out together and they go to work together, and everyone's talking about fighting against burnout by building resilience.
Okay.
Um, what I've noticed as well is that if you don't have a really good resilience practice in your life, then you do struggle to not operate at the top end of the burnout tube and bring that back down again. So you get to the productive stress, not burnout stress that can happen in workplaces. What do you talk about with your clients and customers and the organizations you engage with around resilience and resilience practices?
Yeah, we talk about the difference between being resilient and burning out, like you have
Mm.
just mentioned. And I'm very happy that it is you is that we are discussing this
Yeah.
because you are an expert in it as well. We talk about the invisible mental load, and this is something that not many people are clear about it.
Yeah.
They may, have heard of it, or they may say it at times, but the mental load is something that is related to the pressure, to the responsibility, emotional label that really impacts the employees. We talk about the emotional intelligence of the leadership team
Mhm.
because we all bounce off each other's energy. So this is important. We talk about healing and growth after adversity. So again, being resilient doesn't mean burning out, but it doesn't mean that, you are going to have, a rosy life.
Yeah.
It just means that you are going to be able to be better equipped to deal with whatever life throws at you, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I sort of think of resilience like the suspension in your car.
Ah, exactly. Yeah,
Like if your suspension is fully depleted, the ride is going to be really rough. And
definitely. Yeah,
so
I like it.
any resilience practices that you can put in place start to put a little bit more suspension in your life so you can react as you need to going along. And I found that analogy really useful for people that are operating at high stress, high burnout risk, that everything feels bumpy. They feel really reactive to everything because they don't have any cushioning there.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. And I will be stealing it from you, Leon, but I
my
will accredit it to you.
one last question for you, Carla. If like I'm an event organizer, I'm going to the Gold Coast Speaker Directory to have a look at people, and perhaps I listen to this podcast. What
Mm,
what pain points or problems do you help event organizers solve when they bring you in?
that is a great question. What I support them with is not always having answers, but having strategies and having tools that would support them in their daily life.
Yeah.
Um, I guess another way of asking what makes my talks different, um, it could be because it sits at the intersection of science, real life experience, and workplace practicality.
Okay.
Uh, I it could be insights that I share on the stage that are not theory. Sometimes they come directly from the patterns that I see in real people and in real workplaces. Uh, you know, it's, I guess, the combination of professional expertise and the authentic lived experience that audiences attend to connect deeply with the messages that I tend to speak about.
Yeah, great. I often think the best speakers that I've been around, Carla, they combine story with information and data and marry it to an actionable takeaway. And I think that if I just
Yeah,
project back on you, Carl, what I heard you say there is that's really tightly aligned with how I try and show up as a speaker as well. You get story and connective tissue through lived experience. You give quality information and data, and then you couple those two things together with that key actionable takeaways that people can change how they're showing up the very next day. So,
definitely. People need to live with a show bag.
yeah, an extra set of tools in their toolkit. Thanks
Yeah.
so much, Carla, for joining us today on the Gold Coast Speakers Podcast. And if you would like Carla to speak at your next event right here on Gold Coast, I can personally recommend her as a speaker that will deliver to your audience. Head over to goldcoastspeakers.com at the Gold Coast Speakers directory, and you can find all the links and contact details for Carla and a whole range of other amazing speakers. Thanks so much for your time today, Carla, and allowing me the honor of having this chat with you and getting to ask all the questions.
Leon, thank you so much for this conversation. Thank you so
Fantastic.
much.
My pleasure.
Take care.
Thank you.